Ben, aka Downsize It, and today we're finally getting back to our Ask Me Anythings after a several-month hiatus. And I'm joined by Social General Rob.
Hello.
And for the first time, Buster, aka Banshee.
Go Hogs!
Yes, but Arkansas is actually playing like a college team again.
They are.
So it's very nice to see.
Very excited. Almost a little hoarse today.
Yes. And very excited also to have introducing a new member to the channel, Kari. We don't have an official nickname for her yet, but we could also do Bad Betty. That's kind of a Bad Betty, I think, will work.
Yeah, or Valkyrie.
Or Valkyrie. Yeah. So, well, maybe you guys can let us know which nickname you should use for Kari. You'll be seeing her in the video coming out tomorrow for a bat rep she'll be doing with Rob. But in the meantime, we're going to be getting to your questions and answering them. These usually run along. Like if you're painting or doing something in the background, if you're working, you just listen to it and just grab whatever drink you want. Just sit back and relax while we go over the questions you guys submitted. So thank you for those of you that did submit questions. All right, so our first one is from Matt. Just Matt, not Matt Soms. We have a couple Matts on the channel now. All right, he says, for questions, I was wondering what everyone's favorite ships for each faction would be. And I will go ahead and go first. Anyone that has watched the channel for a while already knows this, but I have no problem talking about it. It's the Imperial 2 Star Destroyer. It is by far and away my favorite ship. Nothing else even comes close. I think it's the best ship in the game, but I am, of course, biased. I love how it is. It is a jack-of-all-trades ship that is actually good at being a jack-of-all-trades, at everything. It's great with firepower. It can wreck anything's face. It can be a fantastic carrier. It can be a fantastic fleet support ship with the Chimera title. And it can pretty much do everything, which is why it's one of the most expensive ships in the game. And it's also the iconic symbol of Imperial might. So that's also why I like to go in with that. And Buster, what is... I think you might have the same response.
I cannot argue against the effectiveness of an Imperial 2 Star Destroyer, but I want a victory to do well, because they're cheap.
Yeah.
So I haven't played enough with victories to find out. You'll see tomorrow how well victories do, because I'm going to have two of them. Yeah. But for just, there's something about the pointy tooth one, the one with the daggers.
Yeah.
Gladiator?
Gladiator.
Yes, the Gladiator really intrigues me. So if I just had to pick a favorite, not really talking about its power or anything about it, just the feel of the ship and what the ship can do, its speed, its destructive power, it can even carry a couple of squadrons. I like the Gladiator.
Rob. Well, if we're going Imperial, this was each faction. So if we're doing Imperial, I'm also just going with the Simoon. I do like the Simoon. I will. So that is my favorite. Firepower, the maneuver. I just love everything about the Simoon. So that is my favorite, to be honest. I don't really have much to say because I don't really play that often. The Imperials, anyway.
And Kari, I know you haven't played at all, but do you have an opinion, or do you want to table that question for?
I'll
table the question for now.
Okay.
Well, let's move on to the Rebels then.
Okay.
So
Rebels targets. So bigger, juicier targets. The one that looks like a giant pickle.
Yeah.
I love to shoot and destroy that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what that is.
It's an MC-80 command cruiser or assault cruiser.
Okay, yeah, I love those. Those are great.
Great to chew up. Yes. Mine is Liberty. Basically because it is the Star Destroyer of the Rebels. It is the Mon Calamari ship with wings. That actually was my original favorite ship ever since I was a kid. When I first saw Return of the Jedi.
Oh wow.
And I love running them now, two of them with General Madine to get that ultra maneuverability out of them. So,
yes.
But it's mainly because they are Star Destroyers for the Rebels. There is no deep reason why. I'm pretty simple in my taste of what I like.
Yes, he is very simple. Yeah. That's why he's downsized.
Yes. Gotta downsize everything. Simple results.
Mine is the MC-80 Command. Command carrier, command assault variant. It is the pickle, which I am glad that you've taken on me. I do like it because, again, it does have the command. You do squadrons, you do engineering, you do everything. It has the firepower, which is great for my Akbar, which you all know I love. So it is the perfect ship for him. So I love playing it. And that is my ship for Rebels.
Separatist. I don't know if you know much about Separatist ships.
The separate ships, I like the one that looks like it has like a falcon nose. I think Grievous' ship.
Yeah, the Providence.
The Providence.
Yeah.
I like the Providence. Again, it looks cool. I have no idea really what it does. I've seen it destroyed. I've seen it destroy other things. But it looks cool.
Yeah, that would actually have to be my pick as well. The Reticent would be close just because it's such a unique design, but I do like the Providence. Again, nothing new here because it can be a jack of all trades. It can be your battleship and carrier into one. You guys are seeing a theme here of what I like. I like the big command ships that can be multi-role, and so definitely go with the Providence. And if I'm remembering correctly, it's the carrier variant that gets the defensive retrofit automatically. So I'll go with the carrier variant just so you don't have to worry about titles to get defensive abilities.
And mine is the Province as well. I like the carrier variant as well. I love playing with all the massive fighters you can send out there. And it's just a well-rounded ship. I mean, the Province is beautiful. And she's just a beautiful ship.
It looks actually kind of like a sailing ship. You can put it in the water.
Yes,
like
it
a
does.
sense,
Yes.
So, yeah.
It does.
And then lastly, the Republic, which I think Buzz and I will be the same on this one.
So the Republic, I've been doing some training. Kari's getting trained back up. She's waxed me 3 times in a row over the last few days. But I'm learning that Republic ships are pigs in space. They don't turn. It's like, oh my goodness. But if I had to take one, I would take I think it's the Venerator.
Venator.
The Venator, because it has 5 squadrons.
Yeah, Venator 2. Oh yes.
It almost makes me want to become a Republic faction. Almost. Not quite, but almost. Just for that.
But
it's a sweet character.
if you think about it, the Republic faction still has the same leader.
Yes.
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 So I mean, they're almost the same as the Empire.
We need to bring some of those ships back.
Yes.
We're bringing out mothballs,
We
maybe
need some
upgrade
Imperial
them.
versions of the Venators.
We do.
Yeah, Venator 2 by far and away, 5 squadrons. I mean, again, you sing a theme here, and it can defend itself, but the ability that it just can be like 5 squadrons. And you guys have seen what I like to do. I like doing the rapid launch base with the arcs, just to fly up and then just boom, here's my heavy bombers in your face.
Fly and boom before they go off the board.
So, yeah, that's not happening again. So, but Venator 2 by far and away, and maybe 4 or 5 years from now, whenever companies actually decide they want to make more Armada stuff, we might get an Imperial version of Venator 2, which I will definitely be getting myself. So, Rob.
Well, there are not many ships out for the Republic or the Separatists, for that matter. But I have to say, it's the Venator 2.
No, we're all the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
The firepower is decent. Of course, the squadrons that we all mentioned already is already decent. Everything about it is decent. It's a really well-rounded ship. And yeah, she could just do so much. She's a beautiful ship. She really is.
I'm just telling you, there's someone out there screaming, is it Pelta?
Pelta.
Pelta. So they're screaming, Pelta! And we get you. We get you. It's a great support ship.
I would say it's my second favorite Republic ship is the Pelta.
Yes. The Pelta is actually
probably the best support ship in the game.
It probably is.
So
it's tough. It's a little slow.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a support ship.
Yeah.
It actually made me love Peltas in Rebels.
Yeah.
So
I just want to throw props out to the Pelta lovers out there.
Yes. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
So real quick though, we do have a Republic. She found some for Republics.
Do you have a favorite yet?
The Venator or the Acclimator that you flew against?
I mean, I like the Acclimator, but.
Oh, you did?
The one that you got before. Oh, you like that one? Okay, good.
Big in space.
Yep, acclimators are very unmaneuverable, but they are tough. They're based. It's interesting. The acclimators are the progenitors of the victories, but I think they're better than victories.
I think they are, except for they can't.
They can't
turn.
But they can go up to speed 3, and I just think they're better than a victory.
So just to give you just a taste, we were playing Venerator 2 or Venerator 1. Venerator 1 against the Acclimator 2.
Yeah.
And the Acclimator had Grand Moff Tarkin, or not Grand Moff Tarkin,
Admiral
Tarkin.
Yeah.
And a bunch of engineering. And the Venerator had who's it?
Venator 1, and she was playing with Bail Gunner.
Yeah, Belagana.
I was just refereeing and stuff, helping out.
There were shots fired in at least 4 of the 6 rounds. There was almost no damage on either ship at the end of the game.
Yes.
When my acclimator flew off. Or because it can't turn.
You gotta play nabs. Gotta play nabs on those acclimators.
Yeah.
Yes, Republic players know how unmaneuverable the Republic ships are, especially when they get to high speeds. But even the acclimator at speed 2 is like a pig. It's, yeah, anyway.
Well, in Belagana, Kari was able to maneuver it just like she wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Keep her shields up anytime he knocked anything down.
Oh, yeah.
He was a beast.
That's what Bell does. Very good Admiral. So, thank you, Matt, for the question.
Yes.
And next we got, not really a question from Franz, just kind of a statement from Franz Odendahl. Not a question per se, but something I really hope to see in the far future. I would really love to see a 400-point face-off between myself, speaking about me, and John from Ion Radio. That would make for one epic battle. And I agree, I would love to play against the Ion Radio guys, go up against John. The only way to make that work now is if we got on Top Simulator to do it, which just doesn't have the same feel. But who knows, in the far future, we might find ourselves at the same event. They might be going to the Las Vegas Open. Maybe I can reach out, see if they're going to the Las Vegas Open.
There you go.
Because I know I'm going to that. I don't know where they live. They might be in Canada. They might be in the U.S. I'm not sure. But that is something that, who knows, in the future, doing a multi-channel collaboration will be a really fun thing to do.
Yes.
So hopefully sometime in the future, we might be able to make that happen.
Yeah. Hopefully you can get the communication through the ion storm.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. Where's our drum set? We need for that. Yeah.
And a drummer.
All right, another one for me, but I'll do this one quickly. This is from Trent. For those Trent, you guys saw a couple videos ago, his debut on the channel. He had the black painted Star Destroyer ships. He's asking, what is the backstory of my Ohio State fandom?
Yeah, we'll sit back now.
And that is just because I am from Ohio. I born and raised in Ohio, born in Cleveland, lived in the central part, and then in the southern part all the way until I was 14. And both my extended family on both sides of my family are all, diehard, born and raised in Ohio. We bleed scarlet and gray. There's one exception in my family, one of my cousins, but he went against the grain just because.
Oh.
And but yeah, Ohio State fan all the way, always will be. And like I said, it's in my blood. And it's been kind of a rough year so far. We've been living in a golden era for about the past 20 years. We've been spoiled as Ohio State fans. And this year, it is not looking too great. We are not playing like we're used to seeing them play. So, but good thing my secondary team is the Razorbacks, because I've lived in Arkansas for so long. Yeah. And it's kind of the opposite. The Razorbacks have been in like the dark ages for the past 20 years.
Yes.
And
they even lost to Ohio State in one of those years.
Yeah, they did. And it's nice to see them actually. I mean, they just beat A&M. They beat Texas the week before. So who knows? This might be the year.
We own Texas.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We do.
They beat the two big ones. So, so if there's any Texas fans in there, I don't know what you're supposed to say to that, because you did get beat by the Razorbacks.
Yeah.
So.
And we do know we have a couple of Houston fans down there. So.
Yeah.
American, European, it's still three teams.
Yes. All right. So thank you, Trent, for that question, because I'm sure other people were probably wondering why they see Ohio State everywhere. And it is very fitting that the next question is from Matt Soms.
Oh, yes.
Who is a fan of the Team Up North. And for those that know what the Team Up North is, you just have to figure that out on your own, because I refuse to say their name. But his question is, what is everyone's thought of who is the most underrated commander, and what would it take for you to utilize them more? And we'll do that. He has two questions. That'll be the first part we'll go through. So, Rob, did you want to start off?
Underrated. I really don't know who's the most underrated. Really, I don't know. I like them all. Well, except my worst one will come later. But underrated, I really do not know, honestly.
Buster, I know you haven't had much experience, but do you have any?
I haven't. I mean, I would think it would be Ozil or Uzel, but again, I haven't played. Does he come out in tournaments? I mean, he doesn't come out much in
around here in our games, yeah.
But I mean, just the ability to increase or decrease all ship speeds by 1 is pretty impressive. And yeah, but he's sort of expensive for that. But it's a big deal. I don't know, but I don't see him on it. And then Ramadi is the other one, the one that if you're close, you've got some obstructions there.
Yeah.
And he's cheap. He's only 20. I actually am thinking we're doing the Rim Worlds. I'm thinking Ramadi. If someone else wants Sloan badly, I'll.
For our rebellion room.
Yeah, I'll I'm thinking about going with Ramadi and just doing a lot of asteroids.
Yeah. So Ramadi and Oswald are actually very good commanders. And cheap. And actually, because you don't know, but people do play them a lot now.
They do.
Yeah. Also used to be complete garbage. But his rules completely changed when they did the 1.5 changes. And I would have put him underrated if you would have asked me 7 months ago. But now that he's not underrated anymore, people use him all the time.
Right, yeah. So I don't know what would be.
What I would say would be the underrated commander, and I'm trying to think. As far as Imperials, I don't think there's any Imperial commander that's underrated. I think they're rated as they need to be rated. Same thing with Rebels. Again, I don't think there's any underused ones that should be utilized more.
No.
What I would go with probably is moving into the Republic space and the Separatist space, and I'd probably actually go with Admiral Trench. And we have seen Admiral Trench in a couple tournaments now. But not as much as I think he can be utilized. And this just comes because I'm a Thrawn fan, and I like Thrawn's ability to give your entire fleet extra dials.
Mm-hmm.
Trench does a similar thing, but it just takes a little bit extra work to get it to work. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to have tokens on the ships in order for them to be able to utilize the secondary dial. And I think because of that extra complication, people might shy away from it. However, I'm saying he's underrated. I think that if people would use him more, you would realize that just because I play Thrawn all the time, I've been spoiled in getting 2 commands for every ship for 3 rounds of that game. Trench can do it for 4 rounds.
He's very expensive too.
Yeah. As he should be, as Thrawn.
But no,
so he's. Oh, 1 second. We'll take a pause and we'll be back. We have a guest.
Trouble, and double trouble.
All right, so we're back, and basically just to recap. It's hard to think of underrated commanders because I think the ones that are rated low deserve to be that way. But just what I was saying about Trench, I think it's just a matter of if people can get over the complexity of it, you will really like having multiple commands for each ship for 4 rounds, basically. So, but also for Matt Soms, the second part of his question is, what commander would you rank the worst and never use? It's easy for me. It's Constantine. He's complete hot garbage. He's the worst commander in the entire game. He needs a complete ground 1 rules rewrite or just to be removed from the game. He is so terrible. What he does with like reducing speed of ships and stuff, the concept is fine. But there are so many contingencies to make it work, it's ridiculous. And especially for his cost, it's not even worth trying. It's the joke with like the Irish Mag had of his subscribers bringing in Constantine fleets and stuff for him to run.
So if you want to joke on Ben, by the way, you could do that to Ben.
That's the only way I'll ever run it. It's a subscriber fleet.
Which I think Matt did ask that question, by the way.
Is there any way you could put him on what is that, Starfire? Or the big rebel ship?
Oh, Starhawk?
Starhawk? If you put him on a Starhawk.
Yeah, cross-factionalize it.
Yeah.
So that could happen. But yeah, those of you that know, if you don't know Constantine, just go on to Ryan Kingston's and look up this card and just see how terrible he is. It's because of it's like reading a legal document. You can do this, but if you do this, and this, and what he then does is like, man.
Yes.
So yeah, he just needs a complete rewrite.
Right.
Rob?
Now again, I would say the worst, would be probably Constantine. But having not played him, but looking at the rebels themselves, I can't say he's the worst, but the worst for me personally would be Garrett. And that's because I just don't know how to run him up. And that's just a me thing. So maybe that's underrated. Maybe I should bump up to an underrated for me.
Yeah, I think it'd be more underrated.
I think they're more underrated. But worst would probably be Constantine, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because Constantine, I thought about running a couple times with Imperialist where it was, hey Rob, what's your Imperialist? Oh, let's do Constantine. Oh, never mind. Let's put somebody else. So, yeah, he has no traction at all.
Lester, do you have any thoughts? I know you don't have that much experience with all the commanders, but yeah. We'll call that a pass. Yeah, Kari, yeah, pass the line. Yes, yes.
Green.
So, thank you, Matt, for those questions. All right, next we have Anthony DeMaio, and his question is, what is your approach to list building? Where do you start, and when do you stop tweaking the list? So, Rob, if you want to lead us off on that one.
Inspiration. I start with inspiration. So it depends on whether it's a general or commander, or whether it's a fighter or whatever, an officer, or even a ship. It really depends on that day. Maybe I want to do heavy squadrons. That will all of a sudden all be like, okay, we're heavy squadrons. Let's see who does heavy squadrons. And again, it just depends on what I'm getting inspired by. So the tweaking part, do you know how many times I tweak throughout the week? Then we'll say, we're going to play on this day, and I'll say, you got a week to go? Okay, good. And how many times I'm tweaking throughout that week until finally I give send, I say, hey Ben, that's what I'm doing. So you get all the cards and shit's ready. So you get all the photos and all that jazz. But, it's like literally Thursday, Friday, he gets it. And I think the whole every day, I'm tweaking and twitching and probably changing commanders, everything else, ships and everything else, you name it. So, but I usually give myself to Thursday, 2 days before, and then I send it to him. And if I don't send it to him in time, like unfortunately this weekend, we had a really busy weekend this weekend, I basically stop on Thursday. I just give myself a stop. That's it. Thursday. 2 days later, or 3 days later, I should say, we're playing it, and that's what I have. That's it. So tweaks to go.
Your thoughts behind how do you go about list building, Preston?
Two approaches, very similar to what Rob does. I'm going to try to figure out how to put as many squadrons on the board and use them effectively, or I pick a ship I really like the toothy thing, the Gladiator. I tell you, and I try to build around that. But always in the back of my mind is, how can I make this a squadron fleet? So here I got this Gladiator, and I know what I want to do with the Gladiator, but how can I also incorporate squadrons into it? So those are the two things that really drive my shipbuilding. I try to get away from metagaming and power gaming. I know we're all gamers, we all try to optimize things, but I try to stay away from that more and keep the fun in the game. What can we do with these ships? And it's just, I'll talk later. I don't want to get into another question right now, but that's it. When I stop, I want to stop long enough that I can go through, because I don't know the game well enough that when I know I have a certain card, what's really due. I know what it does when I'm reading it, but then come game day, it's like, oh yeah, what did Ordnance Experts do? Re-roll 2 dice. So I like to stop so that I can go back and look at it and get in my mind, oh yeah, the ship does this, the ship does that, so that when you're in the heat of the game, you don't forget, hey, I can re-roll 2 black dice. So about 3, 4, 5, even a week out, I'd like to stop tweaking so I then can get a feel and sort of immerse myself in what the fleet is, not what the possibilities and how I can change it, but what it is, so that when I get into the game, I don't lose any of because a lot of these fleets, how you use them, the synergy, if you don't use that synergy right, you're crippling yourself. So you really need to know your fleet and how it works together.
Yeah. My approach to list building is thematic. That's where I start every time. I don't think about what's efficient or whatever. I just think about what's the theme. And I like to do theme building based off the Star Wars universe. So if I'm going with the Thrawn list, Chimera with Vanto on an ISD2, with Defenders, and because that's all thematic. If I'm making an Executor class Star Destroyer, let's say we're going big 600 point game, I'm probably putting Piet on it, just because Piet was the commander of the Executor. And probably Palpatine, but that has nothing to do with thematic. That's just, I start with a theme. That's my theme. Yeah. So I start with basically lore theme is where I start when I do my list building. And unless I'm building for a tournament, which I'll be doing coming up in a few months for the Lost April, which we'll both be doing. But for normal play, it's all thematic. And whenever I stop tweaking is when I hit 400 points exactly. Whatever a point value is, I will make my list worse just to make sure it gets exactly to the point maximum. I'm that OCD about it. I cannot it bugs me. If I've ever come into a game and the points are like when you guys submit your lists, and most everybody that submit lists, they aren't OCD like this, and they'll have like bids and stuff. And when I'm playing that just in the back of my mind, this could be 400 points. I think of an upgrade card that could fit in here to make 400 points. And so that's, but yeah, that's just me. I stop tweaking when I hit 400 or 600 or whatever a build is. And fortunately, I've been playing so long, especially when I'm building an Imperial list, I don't need that much time to know. If I'm building my own fleet, it's usually a Thrawn fleet or a Sloane fleet. I know those inside and out, so I can just put them together quick and boom, ready to go with like a day's notice.
You do inspirational by doing like the World War II fleet you did there.
Yeah.
With two
Yeah,
Star Cruisers.
Imperial 1 Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
And I made the Enterprise and Hornet.
Yeah.
And those are just my,
Yeah.
basically going, but there was a theme. The theme was, I like to start with a theme,
So
a narrative theme. So I went World War II,
Yep.
U.S. carriers was my theme. So that's primarily what I do with my list building, is picking a theme for narrative purposes.
Kari, would you like to jump in on that?
I'm still pretty new to this.
Okay. Just always
Yeah,
ask. We
yeah.
don't skip you around, so
Yeah.
skip you.
Anytime you want to jump in, like I have a, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Raise your hand or punch you in the face, whatever.
And we'll be seeing a lot more Kari with the Rebellion in the Room campaign coming in October. She's one of our
Right.
cast of players.
Yep.
So the next one is from Jurgen GDV. Ben, why do you like Thrawn so much? Was it the books, his fine, smooth blue skin, and cinder glowing eyes, or his devastating tactics? It's probably all of the above. It's just the attraction to the blue and red. But in seriousness, my attraction to Thrawn is that he is the epitome of strategic excellence. If you think about strategic warfare, when you study in combat tactics, military history, all the things you have, like going back to Sun Tzu, or like thinking about Patton or Napoleon, or any of the other great generals. In real life, every great command, even the greatest commanders in history, all had flaws, and they didn't always, emulate the perfect strategic play, that kind of thing, and actually looking at in depth of your enemy, that kind of thing. But Thrawn does. He's fictional, so you can write him to be perfect. And he's not perfect. He does make mistakes, but he takes the adage "know your enemy" to the extreme.
Yes.
He studies their culture, their art, their music. He gets in depth so that he knows how to beat them at the core, not just their combat strategy tactics.
Right.
And that's what attracts me to him, is just because he is the epitome of perfection when it comes to strategy and tactics, and that's what I like about wargaming, and that's why I studied military history in college, is because I enjoyed that. So that is what attracts me realistically to Thrawn. But also, who doesn't like blue skin and glowing red eyes? With the white Grand Admiral uniform, it's just amazing. So I know he's not, but I know you like Thrawn as well. So I don't know if it's similar, but
one of these days I'm going to run him too, I'll tell you. But to me, Thrawn is Ben's guy. I'm not going to.
Yeah, that's the way I go.
So,
I guess I've kind of claimed him for the channel.
Well, it's just that it's like Buster's saying, it's your guy.
Yeah.
I think Buster and I are like, if we play him, we don't do it right, we're doing him disservice. And you deserve as well.
I don't want to get used to playing them and then go, oh gosh, okay, Ben, here he is.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but speaking of, thank you, Jurgen, for that question. Good. And also, just by the books. People that haven't read the books are great. The new ones by Timothy Zahn are amazing. Of course, the original Heir to the Empire trilogy, highly recommend. So, the next couple of questions are going to be for Buster. We're learning more about Buster for the channel. First one is from Beaker. So, Buster, what got you into Armada, and what's your favorite ship / faction, and why? We kind of already answered this, but we'll just go right to it again.
So, one of the things that got me into Armada, Ben, okay. If Ben hadn't got into it, I probably would have resisted. I have more BattleTech minis than I'm going to even mention on.
You could open a store.
I could open
You
a
could.
store.
You could open a store.
A museum. I've been doing this for a long time. So BattleTech is my passion, and I do happen to have a few Warhammer 40K that I picked up over the years, because when I go to new places like Iceland or Germany, finding a Warhammer 40K group to play real easy. The minis look good. But it took a while. Finally, I found if you got tech players, my 40K stuff went on the shelf for a few years until I went to the new place.
Yeah.
So but what really attracted me and got me to actually start purchasing my own stuff and not just use loaners from Ben is actually the Victory and the Imperial 2 Star Destroyer models. Those models, you could just take it and set it on
Set on the shelf.
and they look good. I mean, they're not complex. There's not a lot of complexity in the painting. I mean, pretty simple job, but they look really good. The quality is good on the model itself. And I'm like, wow, I mean, yeah, I'll invest some money on this. And so here it is. And I do like the grand strategy. I like trying to anticipate what you need to be doing 2 or 3 turns down. I mean, I grew up, I teethed on chess. So when you're trying to anticipate not just what you're going to do, but what your opponent's going to do for the next 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, the planning ahead is what attracted me as well. I love that.
And so I like this so much more than X-Wing. X-Wing to me is a beer and pretzel game.
Yep.
Yeah, goodness. Okay. This is more of where is this plate going to be in 2 or 3 turns?
Yeah.
And will I be in the right place to exploit that?
Yeah. On the similar vein, thank you, Beaker. Crazy Kev, kind of continuing on. Then, what's your favorite commander to play and why? He knows that I prefer Thrawn or Rob prefers Akbar, but what is your favorite commander?
I'm trying not to. About squadrons, I'm trying not to be Sloane. I think Sloane is almost everyone's favorite. But I can't find. I'm looking for an Imperial commander that I can use with a squadron focus that brings to the fight what Sloane brings to the fight. And I just,
It's not there.
I just doubt it.
Sloane's it.
Yeah.
And she's perfect for you, the style.
And actually,
really is.
that's throughout the whole entire, I would say, the Rebels. The Republic may have a couple that you may like. No, I'm just saying.
No Republic. I'm not getting into Republic. I'm not getting. But no.
We've heard that before, right?
Yeah.
But my second favorite right now is
right.
Mofty or Monty?
Mahdi.
Mahdi is my
increases the hit
favorite,
points.
second favorite because I do like some of the close range ships and having Mahdi there with the extra hull points. So you can go in there and you can take that damage that you're going to receive as you're dishing it out. He's a good one. So he'd be my close second right now.
And the nice about Mahdi is that he's actually very simple. You just put him in the lift fleet and then you're done. You don't have to worry about being all like, okay, how do I have to organize? It's like, nope, my guys are now just super tough. I'm going to get in your face. So,
exactly.
All right, thank you, Crazy Kev. Next question is from Social General Rob.
What did I ask?
You asked. I've never heard of Oregon's team before. Are they a good team or match for the Buckeyes? Well, this is from the past.
Yes, actually, that was actually just meant to ask a question on the. I didn't even realize I was asking on the EMA thing. That was actually quite funny.
So this is Social General. I'm not paying attention to what video he's writing the comments on.
No.
So to answer the question, yes, Oregon is a good team, and they beat the Buckeyes because we're crap right now. And they were actually in the first college football national championship game that we played them in, and we beat them to win the first college football playoff championship back in 2014. But they're doing all right now, and they also have fancy uniforms that are different every game because Nike sponsors them.
No.
All right.
Just
All right, Titanium Spork has our next question. Any update on the possible Northwest Arkansas Armada tournament you are considering putting together? What have been some challenges so far? Well, Buster, you can talk about the main challenge you've had, why there has not been an update yet.
We have been trying to work with the people who own the venue, and thanks to the lovely Kari, we have got the venue. The venue is secured. So we have a little place in Rogers, which I think can easily fit up to 20 people. And I guess the date is November 13th.
Is that correct?
Is that or is it whatever that weekend is?
Yeah.
But the specifics of it are going to be in another video, just so you guys know. That actually, this question is kind of going to be in a time, travel. You guys are going to see the official announcement video for the tournament before this AMA comes out. But just as far as this, specifically on the challenges, yeah, it was the venue is what we were waiting on. Because I didn't want to give out an official announcement to everybody until we had a venue locked so we can then lock the date. That way we can say, all right, this is it for people that want to participate, and for those that might be traveling from a few hours away, they can start making plans. So,
and it's right there. It's in Rogers. It's right off 49.
Yeah, central location, and so it shouldn't be too difficult for people to find.
So thank you, Kari, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you, Kari.
Yeah, for
Thank
And
you.
we have
Thank
barbecue
you.
across the street.
Oh, yes, barbecue across the street.
Well,
It's getting better and better,
that's
guys.
actually good for you to know when I make the video you guys are going to see before this, so I can put that in the announcement video.
Yeah, so maybe a little extra.
I love time travel. Where's the TVA and Loki when you do All right, so I'm going to do this one real quick. Where can the second one, or the third one, I guess, where can folks find a document of the 2021 Lone Star Open Armada fleet list? Props to Social Channel Rob and Irishman for the overview.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was way back in the Lone Star Open, the one that I played in, and Irish Mad Cat and Rob did like a review podcast talking about all the lists.
Yeah.
And there was Karnak had, I don't know if it's still up, and I don't even know where the link is, but Karnak had posted a Google Doc folder where he posted all an individual document for each fleet. I mean, but that was like 2-3 months ago now, so I don't know if that exists anymore. One thing you can ask is Karnak's on Discord, and he usually responds to people that ask which, or you can even just go to the official Armada forums because he's the moderator there. You can be like, hey, does that link still exist? So that would be my best suggestion, is to see if Karnak still has that link up.
And if not, I know I can probably dig through my files and probably find them, to be honest.
Oh, you still have them?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so, so that's not a guarantee.
Okay.
So, I'll be digging.
Alright, well, so then, now his second question for all of us, not gameplay related, but which card art is your favorite?
Art.
Or what, or if you have like a couple that.
Oh, that's hard. That's a hard one.
I tell you, I love all the Imperial ships, especially the Gladiator art. They're coming at you. There's one that just comes to mind. It's is it Devastator,
Demolisher?
or Demolisher, whatever. It's the card, the title, the ship title card.
Yeah. Is it for the Gladiator?
No, I think it's for Star Destroyer.
Oh, and then Devastator.
Devastator, that's it. The Devastator, it's just coming. It's in your face. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's what everyone needs to see if they rise up against the Empire. So that's one of the
Exactly. Mine, I mean, I'm a simple person. I know what I like. It's the same all the time. It's the custom ISD2 card that I have that has the Chimera on it, which was actually made by Garrett Vance when I got my first tray of rulers that he sent me. That I didn't even ask for, he just sent it to me. So he figured I was a Thrawn fan with the Chimera.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's you guys always see it on the channel because whenever I run Thrawn, I choose that one over the normal ISD2 because just the nice shot of the Chimera. Basically, it's a shot from Rebels, the cartoon, and now especially because it now has Timothy Zahn's signature on it, so it's even more of a. And again, just because I'm so biased, but it's Thrawn. I just love this is just sitting there just
I was waiting for that one.
eyes.
So that's what the number one was. I was waiting for that actually. Yeah.
And Thrawn and the Chimera,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of variance to what I like. Rob?
I would have to say I'm going to be going off a little bit from what they've been talking about. Mine is Tarn Far. I like the way she is just constantly operating inside her console. As if she's
coordinating the fleet and the squadrons. Yeah.
Saying, now go over here, go over there, do this, shoot that. All right. Anyways, sorry, plus was being struggling. And it does work with the party bus, as we like to call it. So she does look like she's doing a disco kind of party little thing. So I do like that art so far the best. I'm sure there's other ones I can think of. But
Yeah, she's great.
yeah, she is awesome.
She's almost an auto included in every regular.
Right.
Which you guys will see
or
tomorrow.
squadron.
Yeah. As long as it's not, she can't do it on the ship she's on, so that's when you put her on
That's
the
the only
CX-75.
thing.
that can't attack. So
Which I did learn from the very beginning.
yeah, Rob first put Torn Far on like his big
MC 75, I
thing.
think. Yeah, it was MC 75 or 80, one or the other.
Yeah.
But
And it's like, oh, I get reroll. No, you
yeah,
don't.
no, you don't.
She's
What do you
other
mean?
ships.
Oh, shoot.
It's like the only card that has that, isn't it? Or
No, there's a few others.
It's very rare, but it's very rare for a card to say other ships. Most cards affect yourself as well.
Friendly, yeah, they're friendly.
All right, well, thank you, Titanium Sport.
Actually, wait,
And,
did you have?
oh yeah, I don't know if you haven't had a chance to see a lot of
I
card art,
haven't
but
flipped through the cards a lot, so
There's anything that sticks out? No?
no.
I favor the rebels.
Favor the Rebels? Yeah.
Oh, can I have a?
Oh, yes.
Mulligan or one?
Yeah, Mulligan is actually, yeah.
One of the cards that does always stick out is I think it's Major Reimer
Oh, yes.
in the bomber. It's just
Yeah.
you can see that he's just going in against
Yeah.
all that
That
firepower to get
Yeah.
those bombs.
That
on.
intensity right
It's,
there.
it's such a shame he's hardly ever used anymore when he got his massive nerf, but he used to be probably the best squad in the game, and now he is
Really?
hardly ever used. Yeah. His ability this is back when Armada first started years and years ago. His ability was that he allowed squadrons to attack ships from medium range,
Right.
as opposed to distance one.
But now it's just this one from him though.
No, now squads they still had to be near him. So squads that were near Major Reimer could attack ships at medium range. You'd be way far back at medium range and throw bombing shots at ships.
Oh,
That's the way it used to be. Now they can do it at close range, which is just a little bit longer than distance one, which is the normal distance.
okay, got it.
But it used to be, they called them Reimer balls. It'd basically be Reimer with TIE bombers and some advanced for escort, usually with Dengar because that's when intel was broken. And they would just fly up, sit at medium range away from the ship and just so it needed to be fixed, but unfortunately Reimer is not hardly ever used, which is unfortunate because he does have fantastic card art.
It is.
I'm glad I didn't play Ben during that time.
I didn't play back then either.
I'm just saying, I'm glad I didn't play that
He
time.
got nerfed before I got into Armada. I just remember watching bat reps and stuff with him in there.
Oh,
So,
gosh.
yeah. All right, so thank you, Titanium Sport. Now we have Maxwell Silver, one of our Alberta friends. When playing casual games and not filming, do you listen to some tense battle music? Holst, Stravinsky, John Williams, or the Barney's I Love You song, perhaps?
Yeah, we love the Powerpuff Girls soundtrack.
Yeah.
Buttercup song.
That's our number one all the time.
Yeah. And BLOSSOM. Do the right thing, I tell you.
Unfortunately, we cannot put it on here during
The fact that you know all those names is scary to me, but,
Yeah.
but
I got two daughters that grew up on.
oh, well, there you
There you go.
go.
That's why you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. They did like the hip hop stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
I prefer Two Steps from Hell.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
There we go. That's my
Usually when we're playing casual without the
Camera.
camera on, Rob's got music playing on his TV.
Yep.
Usually just Star Wars music.
Star Wars, depending on what we're playing. I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
I mean, we can have like if we're playing Firefly or something like that. I usually have that on the back just to get in the mood.
Yeah.
It just has to be with it, or if we're doing some kind of Shadowrun or something like that, role-playing game, maybe in the background, softly, just like a techno kind of Shadowrun type.
40K,
Yeah.
depressing
Maybe,
gothic music.
depressing
Deep
gothic.
Deep Space Nine, Little Next Generation, no Voyager, but some
No.
stuff to get us in the mind, to
Yes.
get us in the ready to be the captain of a starship.
Yeah. Oh, man, if only there was a Star Trek Armada. I would go broke. Alright, so Captain Ketter is also Josh. You guys will see he's going to be a Rebellion Room. He's also local to the area. What ship not currently in Armada would you like to see? For me, it's not even an Imperial ship, it's a New Republic ship. It's the Nebula class Star Destroyer. It's kind of like a Star Destroyer Light. It's a melding of Imperial tech and Mon Calamari tech. It was invented and developed, I think, like 20, 30 years after Endor. And I just love it because it's actually one of the first ships in Star Wars that actually had advanced technology.
Yeah.
Most ships, if you look at the Star Wars universe from a technological perspective, the technology is the same. They just keep upscaling it.
Yep.
The technology from the Republic and the Clone Wars pretty much the same as it is in the Galactic Civil War with the Empire and the Rebels. They've just, maybe scaled it up a little bit or just little micro adjustments. The Nebula class Star Destroyer, it's not canon anymore. Hopefully they make it canon again. Was actually like a quantum leap in technological advancement. So it was basically fast like a Corvette, but had the power of a Star Destroyer. Had specialty shields, it's a specialty ion cannon.
Wow.
And because of my love of Star Trek is more about technology and technological advancement and improvement. I liked how the Nebula class Star Destroyer was similar to that. It also looks really cool. It's like a miniaturized, slimmed out Star Destroyer.
Yeah, I really didn't have anything until, spoiler alert, Disney's Visions.
Yeah, if you guys have seen Visions,
Yeah.
that's what I love. It just like Samurai Jedi.
Yes.
That is awesome. I loved that. That was so awesome. But anyway,
That was good.
you guys need to check out Visions.
And Sith.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, he was like a Ronin because he was going around killing Sith,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
that he was
Oh,
also
that's good.
that was such a
But-
fantastic opening. So
Rebel.
Imagine with me, if you will, an Imperial Star Destroyer. An Imperial Star Destroyer joined together with a huge gun
in the
between
middle. Yeah, that was. I think that was episode 3 or 4.
Yeah. I don't think I'd ever use it because it's sort of like an auditor, and I'm like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
But it would still be so cool to see that model.
Right, just sitting on the table.
I think they call
Yeah.
it the Gemini.
I think it was the Gemini class.
Yeah,
I
Gemini
think they're
class.
calling it. Yeah.
And I'm just thought, wow. Yeah. Anyway, but that would be pretty neat to see.
Rob, I have to disagree with that one because all I can imagine is the ropes are holding the cannon in the middle. And it reminds me of orcs from Warhammer, and I just like, no, please, don't do that to the Imperials, just don't, no. Well, yes, I do fight against the Imperials. No, I have respect for them. So, please don't do that. As for a ship that I'd like to see now, this has been a long-running ship we've always talked about, and that is the proper assault frigate.
Assault Frigate Mark 1.
Okay?
Yes.
I mean, yes, a lot of people are doing reprints and stuff like that, but but I would like them to actually do a proper one.
An official one.
An official one.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a potato. I do like the ship. I really do like that ship. It's just, and I will admit, it's ugly. Yes, it's ugly. It doesn't really fit with the Rebels at all. I don't think it fits with anything, to be honest.
I would love.
Separatists, or, even Separatists are some weird ships, but it doesn't fit with them, doesn't fit with the Republic, doesn't fit with the Imperial.
I would love to, and it was the first ship that they produced as an expansion. This would have been done when they were doing the concept of Star Wars Armada.
Right.
In the development room, they're like, you know what? We have these amazing Assault 1 designs. We're going to do this chunky, fat baby one instead of these really sleek, cool-looking assault frigates. Let's do the chunky, fat baby one instead. Who greenlit that? But anyway,
Yes.
You guys already, I've gone on diatribes before.
Yeah, we both have,
about
actually,
why the Mark 1 was not chosen.
But the Mark 1 would be, that is one of the beautiful ones.
Yeah.
I would also like to see, I think they call it in, oh my gosh, I forget the video game, and then I don't. Age of War, with the Imperial Rebels.
Empire War.
Empire War, thank you. With the Carrot.
Carrick?
Carrick, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, the Carrick anti-squad gunboat.
Oh, that is a beautiful ship. I mean, it's just
Oh, no.
a rectangle, but
We don't need that.
it's actually both sides. It's all
Yeah, both sides.
Oh, both sides?
Both sides, yeah.
We still need that.
No.
No, it's,
But that would be actually, because there actually is no dedicated, other than the Raider with its titles,
no.
those can actually be dedicated, but there is no ship that is pure anti-squad
Yeah, there's no
ship. And I think that would actually be interesting if they came out with the Carrick. So it's complete garbage against other ships, but it's just, pure anti-squad ship.
Escort ship.
Yeah, an escort ship that just falls around the
Exactly,
main ships for flat anti.
Right.
So I would love to see the Carrick.
Yeah, that's what
And in the similar vein, the Dreadnought
Yeah.
class.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
anyway, those are old school ones from EU that they decided to make not canon anymore. Hopefully they bring them back and make them canon again, because that would just be, those are just some old classic designs from back in the 80s
Oh yeah.
of Star Wars. So
Back when I was young.
yeah. So thank you, Captain Tater.
Dang, Kari, did you?
Maybe go watch some more
yeah,
Star Wars droids.
Yeah. Do you know? Do you have any ships that you like in Star Wars that?
The only thing that I think would be cool is because they have the Super Destroyer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The big
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I think they should come up with a bigger model that's detailed of the Millennium Falcon. So you could play the big Super Destroyer and the Millennium Falcon that's not
To actually have a bigger
Proper
scale Millennium
size.
Falcon. Yeah.
Size one,
Yeah. I mean, it is the hero ship for the.
It is.
Well, they call it a hero ship. It's the villain ship.
It is a villain.
Yeah, it's the villain ship of Star Wars. So, yeah.
If they
It's
had
a
a
scum,
Super
but-
Destroyer and then a Millennium
Proper
Falcon.
size.
To actually do a scale size of the
This-
scale.
yeah,
that would be
so.
great.
Yeah.
And we'd have to get like a football stadium to play Armada then.
Yeah.
But that would be fun.
Wow. And the Razorbacks are doing too good this year.
Yes,
We can't get that.
Yeah, we can't get
Yeah.
that. Yeah, maybe back to another COVID outbreak we can
Yeah,
get.
yeah,
Right,
we
right.
again.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right, so thank you, Captain Ketter. And then our last question is from John Fletcher, who was formerly known as XR8R Great. He's from Australia. And for those we asked them previously this
Right.
in an AMA what XR8s are, and they're like a Ford Focus in Australia.
Yes.
So,
And they're great.
and apparently they're great. So for the question, this is actually it's like a multi-part. Yeah, here we go. All right. For the question, what are your top 3 ships in the game and your top 3 squads in the game? His top 3 ships are the MC-75, the Gladiator, and the Munificent. And for squads, he would go with A-Wings, the YT-2400, and the Fire Spray, which is the Boba Fett ship. I would love to see you guys do a 4-way game. You will probably see that in October when we do our Rebellion in the Rim. And like the Take the Station mission that FFG did a little while back. Yeah, I'm still working on the house rules for our campaign. Actually, I had to push back our film date, so it's going to be a little bit probably at the end of October before the first videos of that come out. But you'll definitely be seeing some 4-way games happening when we get heavy into the Rebellion in the Rim filming in that campaign, which will be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But to the question, top 3 ships.
Yeah, top 3 ships. Just I want to go with sheer power, not my 3. Well, I guess we say 3 favorite or top 3.
Just top 3. So
Okay,
I can
we'll go with
like
top
objectively the best.
Yeah, I'm gonna go top 3 Imperial 2. Then I'm gonna go with the Gladiator, 20 teeth one.
Yeah, Gladiator.
And then last the Carrier, because something that I know I often forget, the Quasar,
Quasar, yeah.
is that the Carrier does have decent shields and decent staying power. It's not a paper tiger. So I mean, that thing got blasted by an onager once and lived to tell about it.
True.
True.
It got lucky, but yes.
Lucky,
Anyway, but those are my 3 favorite for just what they can bring to the fight.
Yep.
And,
And top 3 squads.
top 3 squads. Yeah, I've been really mulling that one over. I'm gonna go with the TIE Interceptors #1 because they have the swarm and they're throwing the blue dice at the ship. All works in well with the Sloan, and they got that counter tube. So that's my favorite.
And they're so fast.
And they're
Move
so
big
fast.
five.
Yeah, you get to wherever you want to go. It's like, do I need to really get a range rover out? No, just put them where you want.
Yeah.
Behind that, TIE Fighters because they're so freaking cheap.
And you swarm them.
Yeah. And then, last but not least, I'm sort of toss up to me between the 2 sort of cousin ships, the Gladiator fighter, the Mandalorian, or Gauntlet.
The Gauntlet Fighter.
The Gauntlet fighter, and then the Decimator.
Yes, the big rogue that you hardly ever see, but man, those decimators are scary.
Yeah.
Especially if you can swarm them on people. I mean, they get 3 black dice against squads,
Yeah.
3 blue dice against ships.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they only were not rogue.
Yeah, they don't work with Sloan,
Yeah.
but for those that don't want to do squad commands, you want some just some really, and they have 8 hull. Just throw a whole bunch of those on the table and just send them.
And I am toying with a smaller fleet that has just decimators as the fighters.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to tie down squadron commands, but I can always use one if I want to have it activate early.
Right.
Which is nice.
Right.
All right, Rob, your top 3 ships.
Yeah, then.
No.
Alright, okay, fine. Alright. So top 3, of course, would be the MC-80 command. Cruiser there. Yeah, Sharker. Yeah, I know. Don't worry, Ben's gonna be Sharker too. My second one would be the ME-75 Ordnance. Yes, Ordnance. And then my third one, now this is, I'm kind of busted, the third one's kind of tossed up. It's between the MC-30 torpedo frigate or the Venator. And it's either Venator because I just like the way they are. I like both Venators. So that's a toss-up, really right now for me for 3. For squads, A-Wings, I just love my A-Wings.
Very
I
good.
just love them. X-Wings, and then Y-Wings. And I know people are going to say, Y-Wings? Oh, crap, blah, blah, blah. But it's a favorite of mine since the movies came out. So that's always been stuck in me, and that will always stay there. Yeah, X-Wings for their escort, of course, and all for their defensive and offensive abilities. And then, the A-Wings are just great defense. I mean, you just put them out there. Come on in. Come at
And
me.
they have the counter too.
Yep.
So yeah.
Come at me.
And the named ones, of course, are very Chara is just insane.
Yeah.
So,
So I think that's both pretty good.
So,
Kari, do you have any?
oh yeah, I did. I don't know if Kari has any
I mean,
of her favorite ships yet. But
played with the Gladiator and played the A-Wings before, I think, and the Flotilla.
yeah, the
Remember
Flotilla, yeah.
They're good.
Played with them, so that was pretty fun too. Still working on favorites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kari is still relatively new to the game, so but as she get more, we're gonna get a lot of exposure to all the factions when we do the Rebellion and Rim
Yes.
campaign coming up. So lots of Armada.
Yeah.
Because we're doing 4-way, which I'm still trying to wrap my head around how to do that for the campaign.
Yeah.
Which is why it's taking me so long to get my roles right.
It was Hoopa.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So my top 3 ships. I'm going to try to make this more. I'm trying to be objective with this and not just be my favorite bias. The Imperial 2 is still, I think, objectively the best ship in the game, and it's not just because of the firepower. It's like I stated before earlier in the AMA. It's because it is the ultimate jack of all trades ship that is good at everything. A lot of times when you see a jack of all trades anything in any game you play, whatever, they have to sacrifice something.
Right.
To be a jack of all trades since we're not specialized. The Imperial 2 doesn't. No matter what you want it to do, it is good at it. And it can be good at, other than doing fleet support, because it doesn't have that ability to do fleet support, everything else it can do. It can sit on the table by itself and inspire fear in your opponent, as they're supposed to do.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think just objectively, the Imperial 2 Star Destroyer is the best ship in the game. My number 2 actually, I'm gonna go way off the rails on this, and and I actually hate the ship, but I just think objectively it's probably the second best is the hard cell.
Oh wow.
For the Separatists. Those ships are extraordinarily difficult to kill for a small ship,
Yes.
and the battle refits can put out an incredible amount of firepower for their cost and their size. And when you face a swarm of them, like I said, they're so hard to kill, and you're getting, if someone built it right, and then like if you got like a Mark II commander or something, or even a TF commander, you're getting 4 to 5 red dice, plus maybe a black dice from 4 or 5 ships every turn.
Yeah.
And they are incredibly difficult to kill. I don't like them just because I hate the way they look, but objectively, and those are, I think they're an absolutely fantastic ship, and they're a steal for their cost. So
I don't think that's a hard sell at all. You convinced me in about a minute.
Yeah.
Which is the drums.
Then I got.
Yeah.
We need to take 5 so I can redo my fleet.
Yes.
They're not recording.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then, what I think the third best ship in the game, just trying to think objectively here, it's actually the GR-75. Fleet support is
really?
so good
The GR-75.
because there's such force multipliers, like flotillas, and then like you have the Peloton, the hard cell transport version. But the GR-75, it's so cheap, and because the Rebels can get some, like you can put Torrenfar in there, you get Bright Hope, which makes it almost unkillable, unless you just fly directly in front of an Imperial 2 or a similar type of ship.
It's done that for
And even that, but it's because of how cheap they are, and because fleet support ships are force multipliers.
Yes.
by themselves, yeah, they're nothing, but what they can do to make your fleet just that much better, and the GR75 medium transport is the cheapest,
Yes.
and you have access to the Bright Hope title.
Right.
So
No, you're right.
because of how it can, and because the Rebels also have Torn 4 that you can put on there, or you can put Leia on there,
Leia, yeah.
if you really want to basically let your big ships do whatever command they want every round with one of the big ships. Its versatility to make a Rebel fleet just exponentially better, and because it's so cheap, I think GR75 actually would be probably my third best ship in the game, just because of its ability. Now, but granted, if you're trying to think, can it survive on its own? Can it do anything? No. But because of how much better it makes Rebel ships and Rebel fleets, I think I'll go with GR75. Squads. This
What's
is
your number one?
Trying not to, but even this is a bias, but I think objectively defenders are the best. They are expensive at 16 points, but you got speed 5, 6 health, 2 blue, 2 black, and they're a bomber.
Right. Yep.
I love multi-role fighters, even in real life. I prefer like with, my preference is for our modern air forces. I prefer multi-role fighters as opposed to specialized and stuff.
Yep.
And defenders are the purest of the pure of multi-role fighters, and they are good at everything. The only downside is the cost. But I know you can do it. You can fit, I think it's 8. If you want to just max out defenders, I think you can do 8. Or you can do 7 with Merrick. And Merrick Steel, of course, if you want to go to the specific, is you can't get better at anti-ship squad than Merrick. And defenders, if you're actually building defenders with Sloan, which you'll see eventually. I'm thinking about that for my Las Vegas Open fleet, is a Sloan fleet, but with defenders. Because everything you roll on their bomber dice is good, because they're bombers, so the crits count as damage as well. If you got them flight controllers, they're rolling 3 blue dice and 2 black dice at enemy squads. Just you can't compete with that. My second best, which I think is actually a very close second now, is the Aether Sprites, which are the Jedi fighters for the Republic.
Yes.
Also very expensive, 17 points.
Yep.
But they have an inbuilt reroll with Adept, and they have an inbuilt force the opponent to reroll with Dodge. So, absolutely incredible.
Yep. Yeah.
Again, expensive, but I just, I think, again, if the only downside is that it's expensive, then to me that's not a downside. It's, if you can dominate, you can send one defender to swarm of 3 TIE fighters.
Oh, easily.
It'll kill a TIE fighter round, and those TIE fighters might kill it by the end of the third round. So, it's, and it takes 2 TIE fighters to equal a defender, but I think the defender can take on 3 by itself. So, it's, I think and same thing with the Aether Sprites, because of the ability to get that dive. I played with it for the first time a couple bat reps ago.
Oh yes.
The non-specific Jedi variants, so just the Jedi. If you want to talk specific, Jedi are just amazing.
Well,
yes.
But the generic Aether Sprites, the dodge reroll to force your opponent. Okay, I got this. Well, reroll that one, and almost every time he rerolled it into a blank or an accuracy or something.
How does that work? If it's a blank, it rerolls to a blank. If it's a double hit, it rerolls to a blank.
Yeah.
It always rerolls to a blank.
And then my third squad, top 3, I'm actually gonna have to go with the A-Wing. A-Wings, again, now they're not multi-role, but for what they do, they have the speed 5, they have the counter 2. They are probably with them and interceptors, but I'd say maybe them more because they have 4 health instead of 3. The best if you see a host of bombers coming towards you, just send some A-Wings in. And they'll hold them down. And then when you go to the specifics, of course, Shara is the best anti-squad squadron in the game. So
she's incredible.
so it'd be defenders, Aether Sprites, and A-Wings for me as far as.
And A-Wings only cost 11.
Yeah, they're ultra cheap, so you can just field a lot. Just say, I'm just throw some A-Wings out there to stop. And if your opponent doesn't bring squads, I mean, they roll black dice. Against ships. They don't. The crits don't count, but you have a 75% chance to get a hit when going against ships. So. All right, so those are all the questions. Thank you everybody for that submitted the questions.
Thank you.
And I meant to mention this at the beginning, but just mention it here. We are now into the October giveaway. So if you guys want to enter into the giveaway, just answer the questions in my videos. There is no questions in this one, So with the AMA videos, the response videos, just to be eligible for the giveaway, just tell us what you thought about our answers. Just have a conversation with us in the comments, and that'll enter you in for the giveaway for October. And I'll be announcing the winner for that on November 1st. And so thank you, Buster. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kari. And we're going to try to get back into the AMAs once a month again. I have a huge break like we did last time. And maybe we might have some more. We might change out the participants since there's a lot more people that have been featured on the channel now. We'll try to rotate out the participants so you can ask them different questions, etc.
Right.
So thanks for watching, guys. And until next time, take it easy.